Hi, Alex Kudnov here with Tandem Coaching Academy, and today I want to spend a few minutes discussing one of the questions I learned to hate is what we call at Tandem the F-bomb question. And it's so omnipresent in coaching world. It's the how does it make you feel question. We literally call it the F-bomb question. What it shouldn't tell you that I'm saying that feelings are not important. Oh, they are paramountly important. And they are absolutely an integral part of the whole person we are trying to coach, we are trying to get to with our masterful coaching, with our presence, with our all the ICF competencies that we know so well. With that said, how does it make you feel is the wrong question to ask in my mind. Let's make a distinction first, distinction between feelings and emotions. And I know that very few people I talk to, they actually know and understand the distinction. So here's how I understand that. The emotions is what we usually don't control. The emotions are our visceral response to a trigger, to some event, to somebody saying something, us seeing something, us perceiving something from the outside world. What happens, it goes to our brain through our VAC, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, perceptual system, and all these good stuff that our body generates, dopamine and all other stuff, they start flowing through our veins, they start flowing through our brain, and these are emotions. Sometimes they are small, sometimes they are very strong, sometimes they make us even shake or have some other physical reactions. These are emotions. Rarely do we control them. And I haven't read the recent literature on that. Maybe we already learned how to control that. I don't know. Now, these are not feelings. There's a trigger, something is happening. Then there's a reaction. These are emotions. Then there's a gap. Look, human beings have this organ called brain, and we usually use it to think. We usually use it to process information. And our brain is so much more powerful than that of an animal. So there is a gap where our brain can jump in, analyze the situation, analyze our visceral response and emotions, and decide, what do we need to feel? How do we need to respond? Notice the difference between react and respond. How do we need to respond to the trigger? And that's in our control. That's what we as human beings can, and I think should, control. Because if we are driven by emotions with closing this gap and not recognizing that it's in our control, we're basically saying, however we show up outwardly, however we react and present ourselves to the external world, we don't control that. We're not in control of that. And that is wrong in my mind. So the problem with the F-bomb question, how does it make you feel? It's almost borderline disrespectful. We keep saying in coaching that our clients are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole people. They don't need fixing. They have resources they need to make a change, or we are there to help them find those resources. And then we say, something outside of your control makes you do this. Well, let's think about it. Something outside of your control did provoke a reaction, and then you didn't probably recognize that the gap between reaction and response is so tiny. And maybe during the years of reacting on autopilot to this, you almost chose automatically to respond in a specific way. And how that way now serves you is the question here. So as coaches, we can really help the clients to regain that control of the closing gap, actually widen the gap. You know how they say in London, mind the gap? Well, this gap is really, really tiny for a lot of people, for a lot of our clients to mind. So we actually need to help them widen the gap if they want to. If they are basically recognizing that their reactions, their responses are not what they want them to be. So what can we do? How can we replace these questions, the F-bomb question, so that we actually honor the human being in front of us who is naturally creative, resourceful, and whole? Well, there are a few questions. And look, in the coaching world, there are no perfect questions, but there's always a better question. And coaching journey is always finding that better question that is maybe just a little bit better than the previous question you asked. So one of the questions would be, what is it like for you? I love this question in business environments. In business, well, look, we kind of start moving towards that. Yes, in business, we recognize feelings, but you go up and up, you coach executives, you coach leadership, and sometimes you run into people who are all about rationale, all about the sound decisions, all about them being rational human beings. So feeling question might be really foreign to them. And in order to connect, in order to build that additional grain of rapport, what is it like for you to be there, to see that, to hear that, is a much better question to resonate with them. Another good question you can ask, instead of how does it make you feel, how do you experience this in the moment? I find this question much more richer than the feeling question, because experience assumes that it's not only feelings, it's not only emotions, but everything else that comes from this whole human, this embodiment of the better human that they want to be. Another question, yeah, so skip the present, skip what's happening for the client in the moment. How do you want to respond to this? That's a forward-looking question. I can see the argument that it kind of glosses over more deep analysis and more deep exploration of what's happening for the client. But also it has its benefit that it focuses on the response. It focuses on what might be a problem for the client, because they come to you, look, I get angry in these meetings and I shout and that's not good, kind of, I don't get promoted. Okay, how else would you like to respond to this when you experience this? This will help to move them forward. So I wish the coaching world got rid of the F-bomb question, but you know what? Right now it's gravity. A lot of people ask that, and that is fine. That serves our clients. I want to kind of put it out there that at Tandem Coaching, we have much better questions to ask our clients to move them forward and to help them achieve their goals. And of course, if you want to learn more about professional coaching, feel free to explore our programs at tandemcoaching.academy. And we are looking forward to see you in our professional coach training. Bye for now.